All right. Welcome everyone to a game of fifth, or not fifth. What the hell? Game of Pathfinder, in the Adventures Nexus. I'm Alex Newton. I'll be groggily running your game for today. And let's get started by introducing our players, starting with Alex.
Hi there, I'm Alex, also known as Alex number 2, somewhere else, not here. I will be playing Marcus Greywater, and I've never played a game of Pathfinder in my life, so we'll see how the hell this goes. Okay. Yeah.
Dell.
Hey, I'm Del. I'm playing Tsukio Nakayama. She's an oracle, and she's been playing a few games here and there. And recently, she started a very successful fortune-telling business in the Adventurers Nexus, which she actually came across Marcus at one point. So they get to meet again.
Okay.
And my name is Sandra, and I'm going to be playing Neri Dracalis. She's a wyvern and 7'8" tall. I think I said that right, 7'8". They met before, like everyone met, like Suki. Neri's like kind of working with and for Suki right now because she's got this fortune telling business going on and she's like doing marketing. And I added a tiny bell at the end of her tail. Like she's got this really worn out bow from Suki, and she added like a tiny bell to make it like to attract more attention and to dog train them, the public. She's a sorceress, level 3 sorceress, and yeah, she's very charming. And yeah, that's basically her.
All right. So, all of you are doing your business wherever you reside, and a messenger will approach you with. Two of you will easily recognize this as being summoned to the Adventurers Guild. The Marcus, this is your first mission, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is the first game as him, right?
Yes, sir.
So this messenger runs up to you and he says, hey there, you're not an adventurer, are you?
Yeah, I'm just in my tavern, just cleaning tables. We just closed right now. I'm just like, um, no, why?
Oh, so you haven't even arrived to the Nexus yet.
Nope.
Okay, so
I
never
got a
mind.
pamphlet from Suki.
Oh, so you're in the Nexus, you're a commoner?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're working at the bar, and okay, so this messenger wouldn't even know about you.
Goodbye.
Never mind. Scratch the messenger. Fucking pointless. So you've been in the Nexus for a while now. You've been considering adventuring for just kind of in the back corner of your heart, but you just keep waiting tables because you don't think you can do it. And as these two receive their letters and start heading towards the guild hall, you don't get a messenger. You're waiting tables and you're cleaning up this mess from what you think is illithid vomit. He's eaten too many brains and he's got sickened on the table. You were forced to scoop it up and clean it. It's kind of gross, very slimy. It's closing time, and the store is closing. It's not nighttime as it's always bright in Nexus, but it is like that's the cycle that everyone kind of has, and they're going to sleep. And the store is closing for a while to make preparations again. So you're cleaning up. The door is locked, and you're cleaning up tables, and the door opens. You're pretty sure you locked it, but the door opens regardless.
Just gonna say, hey guys, we're closed.
Okay. You look to the door, and even though the door is wide open, you see this huge, what looks like cloak standing at the front of the door. You don't see it, and whoever's at the door is really tall. You can't see the top of them. But he ends up stepping forward and walking through the doorway anyways. And he's so tall, in fact, that that his head doesn't even come through it goes through the ceiling. And he just starts walking towards you.
Oh, fuck. Hey, listen. I don't want any trouble, and I'm just gonna back up slowly, kind of getting freaked out a little bit.
All right, so he stops 10 feet from you, and you can see the robe kind of like lean and just awkwardly start laying down to your left, and it stays 10 feet away from you, but you notice that the head finally comes through the ceiling of the other floor, and it's now eye level to you, but it's about 20 feet standing on its side. And I say standing on its side as in its feet are planted on the ground, but its legs are bent in a way that seems impossible, and it is standing sideways.
The fuck.
And you don't see this thing's face. You just see what looks like this. Have you ever put paint in water?
Oh yeah.
So you see this like paint, like space like paint, like you're looking at the night sky, but it's just kind of contained in this cloak, and that's the only thing that kind of resembles a head. And a voice comes to you, and he says, "Do you thirst for adventure and battle?"
I'm just gonna look around, seeing the empty ass room. I'm just gonna say, is this some kind of joke? Sorry, I don't get it.
He steps forward, although the other part of him that's kind of like swaying to the side just kind of stays in its place, and it starts kind of like hooking around you, and he says, "This is no joke. Your powers need to be fostered, and I have a few travelers that could use some extra hands if you're interested."
My eyes are just gonna go wide a little bit on the sound, like the sound of powers. Just gonna say it. Hey, dude, you got the wrong guy. No powers. Nope, no powers here. Nope.
He says, "Sure. No powers. Hmm? What's your curse?"
Haunted. So things that I drop just are flung 10 feet away from me.
So you're kind of just holding on to something because your mob. So you're holding on to this cloth, and he's gonna cast command on you. He says, "Drop that."
I do it.
Okay. So it flings off, kind of flings in the air and lands on another table nearby. And you realize as you are dropping this, he's hooking almost fully around you now. And this hooded spot that is supposed to be where his head is back to standing above his feet, but he's completely surrounding you. And he says, "No powers." Then what was that?
The wind.
He says, "In an enclosed building."
It happens.
Oh, well. Then what of gold? I'm sure you're not enjoying this job.
Just gonna look around. Just gonna, like,
Your boss is like, I don't fucking know.
just gonna say, you got a point there, Mr. Mistman. What is
So-
this? What's your offer?
An invitation.
To what?
Join in a greater destiny than what you have here. And you will have the opportunity to make money and gain experience and power like you would never achieve here. You can work with powerful allies, and they will help you attain this power. Don't you want to understand your curse better?
Just gonna stare over at my unnamed boss that he would know the name to, and just say, hey, could I take off tomorrow to deal with this? He just points at the whole situation.
He's scratching the back of his head, and he's like, all right, I don't know who you are. And then you just feel this intense, you would say stare, but this thing has no eyes. And the guy just gets like almost stunned for a moment, and he's like, and you could see like this rapid, like, time for him is moving quickly, and you can see he's holding this conversation, but the conversation that you aren't hearing is going by so fast that you can't even understand what's going on. And then after what seems like 8 seconds in your time, he says, all right, just make sure he doesn't get killed. And that's all you hear.
Well, sure. Fine. Yeah. Let's do it.
Excellent. Now, hold still. And this cloak will just envelop you.
Oh, God!
And we'll be seeing you in a moment. You're dead. No, I'm kidding.
Surprise, roll a new character. Aw.
You gave yourself up for a death effect. Damn it. So, you two, Tsukio and Nairi, arrive at the Adventurers Hall. And you see Sergeant Pennyworth is there. And he's in his normal position. However, he doesn't have a clipboard this time. He's carrying what looks like 2 orbs.
Hey, Penny. How's it going?
The Trickster and the Draconis. Doing well. Thanks for asking.
We heard you had some fun for us.
Fun? Perhaps. Depending on how you view things. Hopefully, you view this next mission as much more serious than the last.
I was very serious last mission, I'll have you know.
Yes, I'm sure the legend of butt magic will continue to flow through the lands.
Oh, did you come to our local chapter meeting?
No. Frederick told me about it.
Yeah, I tried to convince him to come, but for some reason he didn't seem to want to. That's okay, though. He was there in spirit.
Yeah. And, of course, an image.
Of course. I couldn't let our fans down.
He just shakes his head. He says, look, as much as I'd love to chat about your new cult, I'm going to have to insist that you get ready for your next job. And he offers you one of the orbs.
She'll give him a little salute and put her hand out for it.
You take it, and you can feel that it has great magical properties.
Ooh, this is pretty. I wonder if this would make a good crystal ball.
He says it won't. But also, it's only useful for communicating with this orb. And he still has the other one, and he shows you it. Says you'll be using this to keep me in touch with information. And if you need, for some reason, different help or new help or extra help, then I'll be able to send them to you.
So you're telling me I can call you anytime on this? Day or night?
Not me personally all the time. Sometimes it will be different people. Like Tibrin, for example. As much as I hate him, he is the closest one to a mentor around here.
Oh, excellent. Neri, did you hear that? We can call them whenever we want.
I heard that, and I don't know why do we need that? Why would we want to talk to them? Like we can always come back, can we not?
Not necessarily. Not this time. The place you're going to is going to be significantly more dangerous than it was in the other towns. As you may have noticed, the last missions you have been participating in have been training missions to see whether you are prepared for more dangerous missions. Ones like this one.
Mr. Pennyworth, is Frederick gonna be able to come with us?
Who?
Frederick?
No. I've sent him to go help other people. There are other mages like you who need to get past their learning curve.
Oh, I thought he had a lot of fun with us, but that's very insightful of you to provide us with a means of communication so that we can always contact you in case things go south, I guess. Thank you.
He says, well, hopefully not too far south. I don't want you to end up dying.
Okay, we will not go south.
As well, you will be taking a woman called Elizabeth. And Elizabeth just comes around the corner, and she seems to be bumbling over some stuff. A little confused, but seems to be possessing a lot of items and a lot of toys.
Elizabeth, hello again.
She looks up and she says, "Hi."
Hello, Elizabeth.
She just waves at you too before walking over to you, and he nods to her. And he says, "She's not very combat ready, but she does have a lot of useful skills in where you'll be heading, which is Kormin, the City of Gold." The City of Gold is under attack on a lot of fronts, and the city has been taken over quite significantly. You'll be spending some time to help in a relief attempt to defeat some of the bandits, or even perhaps lay waste to them.
Well, we have experience at dealing with bandits, don't we, Neri? And she's gonna she's gonna flex that.
She's Neri's gonna wiggle her tail around Silky's butt. She's like, "Oh yeah," with a tiny bell attached to it.
He shakes his head. He says, "These won't be like the trainee bandits that you were fighting against before. They're fervent followers of somebody who calls himself the Temptress. And she is not a joke."
The Temptress.
Yes. She is not a succubus, if you were thinking about that. She is just a human who gave herself that name, as she's decided that she likes to tempt fate, and apparently the souls of men. As many other humans and bandits have decided to take her calling and become her servants. We're not sure why they have chosen to do this, but Kormin has many other issues. Elizabeth is going with you because Kormin also has many other benefits, such as rare materials that are easily accessible, and her ability to deal with mechanisms, and her ability to make items will be incredibly useful to you.
Oh, you can make things? What can you make, darling?
She says, well, I can make weapons and armor. I can make jewelry and clothing, and I can even do some carpentry if that's what's needed of me. I can also make magic items if I have the resources.
Oh, where did you learn that?
She says, I just apprenticed in a lot of other places.
Oh. I guess that makes sense.
He nods his head. He gives Elizabeth a border pass. He says, I don't think you'll be needing it in this area, but just in case.
Oh, never mind.
He says, there's no clear objective, as I don't know what exactly Kormin needs from you. So I have sent someone ahead of you. He is called the Kingslayer, a warforged who has been known to take down entire castles by himself, whether by slaying all of his foes or by tearing the castle down brick by brick. He's quite famous for that task alone, and he'll be, although he's kind of out of his field for this place, he will be your sort of leader to help you identify objectives and to make sure that you're heading in the right direction. I have explicitly told him to not help you unless it is absolutely necessary. I do not want any of you to die again.
Oh, so this is some sort of trial, isn't it?
No, this is very real this time. If you fail too many times, it will affect Kormin negatively. People will die, and if you die alone and you don't tell him where you are, you could just very well be dead forever.
I don't want to be dead forever.
No one wants to be dead forever. So it's the most important that you choose your battles and your missions very carefully. There's a lot to do, and you have the choice of how to do it.
It sounds like we'll be gone for a while.
Yes. Though I am understanding that you will have free lodging for the time being. However, that is on my word and not yours. If you screw up too much, that could be very different very fast.
Hmm.
I expect that you know where the North Gate is.
Yeah, we don't want to go south. We talked about this already.
So, he gives one of you a scroll. He says, memorize this. And
I'll take it.
It's just specific hand gestures. Very specific hand gestures. One that actually Neri can't perform because just how her hands are made.
No. Would that go on use magic device?
No. They're very simple hand gestures, especially to you two since you're casters. You know how to do these pretty easily. He says, perform these gestures in the proper order, and the gate will be opened and you'll be sent to Kormin.
All right.
Kingslayer should be waiting for you over there.
Aye, aye, Sergeant.
He says, oh, and here, for you, Elizabeth, and he gives her this small tray, and it has 3 Cure Light Wounds potions on
it. Well, I am ready when you are. How's Makaru doing?
I was actually thinking of going and picking him up for this.
Wow, it sounds like this is going to be a little bit more dangerous than what we've done so far. So, why not? Why not? He might actually come in very handy.
He is not a fighter, but if we
Oh,
leave
he
him
came
behind,
right on my back.
yes. But if we leave him at the inn, he can help. He can probably help Elizabeth craft things.
But isn't Elizabeth going to come with us?
She is, but if she starts something, maybe he can finish it, and it'll be ready by the time we get back.
Oh, maybe they could work together on that. But well, she wouldn't be assisting us. And she's like standing right next to us.
Yeah, she is not very talkative. She's just kind of looking over things right now.
What do you think, Elizabeth? Would you like some assistance, maybe crafting some things while on our downtime?
She says, "Yeah, I can do that. I can have that happen. I'm not very strong at all.
That's okay. Neither is Macru. He's
Like,
built for different things.
looking her over, you can see that she's fit. Like she's pretty strong. Well, she's not pretty strong. She's a little above average, and she seems to be a little dexterous. But she seems pretty like faint. Like she looks like she could get sick pretty often if she is careless.
That's technically Suki too, because that's her curse.
Well, I mean, she has 7 constitution, so she's
Yeah.
frail. She only has 4 hit points.
Oh, what?
She is so fucked. She gets hit by any. She doesn't need cure light wounds. If she gets hit, she's dead.
Though she is wearing scale mail, and she's carrying a shield.
Someone trips on her, she falls down.
She's wearing
Yeah.
leather armor. Sorry.
Well, there's always my mage armor. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, Pennyworth just shakes his head and he says, I wouldn't bring her into a fight, as I said before. She's more useful in town.
All right. Well, let's head out then. There's no time to waste. And when we pick up Macru, Neri's gonna offer him to ride on her back.
Okay. So you fly, or you don't fly. You
No,
guys
I am
head
not
to the
allowed.
gate. And when you arrive at the gate, Tsukio, you perform the hand gestures.
Yep.
The iron golem notices you, and you're actually pretty easy to see for him out in the open. He notices that, like, notices your extra flowing tails. And he opens the gate, and this light streams through. And as you noticed before, when you felt like you were getting stronger, you do notice that the blinding light has weakened even further, and you actually see a bit more than what you're used to. You can make out people, like they're moving a lot of things from this side. You can see that the city of gold may be not literally interpreted, but you do see what looks like a lot of merchants walking around.
Looks rather busy in there.
You do also make out that there is a Warforged standing there.
That would be the Kingslayer, I'm assuming.
He is standing above the crowd, and a lot of people just stand away from him. He's covered in spikes, but that's about as much detail as you can make out. His one arm is actually replaced with a great axe.
Oh, and as a note, you can't see her tails.
Oh.
But she looks entirely human when she's in human form. Like, you can make checks to see if people notice that she's not actually human, but she does look entirely human in her human form.
Okay, I didn't know if you were in your Kitsune form or not.
She will very rarely take the Kitsune form.
Good to know. Okay, so the gate's open. You guys head in?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys wander in, and you guys start speaking. Head over to the King's Flare, as there's really no other option. He is waiting for you. He's pretty close to the gate. as you guys are standing there talking, this large rift opens up nearby the gate, and everyone looks over to it. And it splits open and reveals that paint-like space in the air, just splattering outside of this rift, and it just falls onto the ground, and it starts taking shapes and colors, and eventually it turns into Marcus as the lit rift closes. Marcus, despite this, as well as everything else that you normally possess, and obviously yourself, in your hand is a border pass.
He's just on the floor, a little sick, and like still in his apron and everything, and he'll just stand up and just like look the hell around, just like, what the fuck?
As soon as Suki sees him, she's gonna go, "Oh, I knew it! I knew I'd see you again!" And she's gonna like run up and grab his hands and like go in a circle with him, just sort of like skipping in a circle.
Just seeing this display, and he's just gonna be like, "Oh, you're a lot more excited than, yeah, I know you, yeah."
Neri comes up from behind him and pats on his head, like a little bit too heavy.
Ow, ow. Wait, I know you too. Wait.
Hello there. I have seen you before.
Where am I?
I'm so sorry, Marcus. You're dead.
Ooh,
Oh,
so dead.
God damn. Shit.
Well, wait, that is not fun. Oh, no, that's not fun. Let's not do that. You're not dead. You're alive. Don't worry. Still, we're all still alive. That's good.
Okay, yeah. Where the hell am I? I repeat.
What was this place called again?
Elizabeth has a notepad, but she doesn't reference it. She says, "We're in the city of Kormin."
Ah, yeah, right. That. And we're here to confront the temptress. She tends to temptate men. Temptate, is that the right word?
You just start hearing this loud thumping heading towards you. And you hear, "You will not be fighting her. She is too strong for you now."
Oh. But was temptate the right word? I don't think so.
It'd just be tempt.
Oh, tempt. Thanks.
And the Kingslayer is now standing beside you. He is a warforged. His right arm, there's a place with a large axe-like blade. He's a dark purple color and immediately recognizable as adamantine. He stands about 7 feet tall, and it looks like he weighs about 400 pounds.
Neri's taller than him. Funny.
And
Sorry.
he says, "So you're the adventurers I've been waiting for?" He has a cold expression. Warforged are not typically well known for their emotions
Well,
or facial expressions.
if you have waited for the adventure sent out by Mr. Pennyworth, then yes. If not, we might have a misunderstanding.
I'm just gonna whisper over to Suki. I'm just gonna say, I didn't sign up for anything.
And she'll just whisper back, "It's destiny, destiny, destiny." She'll make the echo.
God dang it. Where the hell are we going?
To adventure, adventure, adventure.
I don't have any gear. As he's just like signals to his work clothes.
The Warforged looks you over and he says, "Well, I could buy you some if you're desperate enough."
Oh, he's very desperate. He told me.
Oh, thanks. You know, that's something that we just share with everyone, including 7-foot tall metal men.
I'm not a
Why?
man. I'm a warforged.
Why are you desperate?
And also, calling me metal is also an insult. I'm made of adamantine.
I apologize. Those are many new words in one sentence.
Can I touch you?
What?
Yes, you may.
Oh, she goes ahead and touches him like on the head and like on the back and just, like inspecting the whole body a little bit too much.
Just gonna knock on his like leg.
So
Ooh, wow. I have not seen this before.
he's not incredibly polished. His body is seen some damage, but none of them seem to be hindering him at all. And despite him, what must have been standing in the sun for a really long time, he still feels fairly cool.
And does he have like any damages? Like except for like what could be scars or shit.
He's got one bad injury, but it's oh no. Make me a knowledge engineering check.
Well, how the hell do I'm doing this? I don't have engineering.
So no, you're not really sure what one of these injuries would be considered serious. He doesn't seem to be limping or anything.
I see you have like some scratches here. Do you want me to like repair them?
He says, "Do you know repairing magic?
Yes.
What do you cast?"
Mending.
It fails.
Oh.
So you cast mending on him, and you see that the metal doesn't even flex.
Maybe if we do it at the same time, Neri.
Well, that was a spell scroll I just used.
Ah.
So I can't do that again. But I can't cure him. So like I don't have healing spells. I'm sorry, I tried. But you look gorgeous. Except for this one scratch, but I'm sure you will be taken care of. Does it hurt?
He shakes his head. No.
Well, that's all the better. You should check it out though. Like then you will just look perfect.
What were you intending to do?
Me?
Yes. You are casting spells at me.
Oh, I tried to repair it with a spell scroll that I bought, which is supposed to actually repair I don't want to say like minor scratches and breaks in objects, you know?
He
But
says, "I am
the object
immune
is too big.
to-" He says, "I am immune to healing magic."
I'm sorry. I tried. Dear Kingslayer. I tried. But since it doesn't hurt, I think it's not that bad, right?
He says, "I do not feel pain regardless of my injuries. If it was serious, I wouldn't know."
Well, can you see it? Or is it in a spot where you cannot see it? I don't know. Is it like on his back?
It's on his back, like upper right shoulder.
You should probably have someone look at it. Or look in a mirror or something.
I need to be right back for a sec.
Okay. I mean, he doesn't feel it. Maybe he's like fucking really badly injured. And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm good.
It's like, dude, you got a zit on your forehead. Why? I don't see it, dude.
Hey, there's an axe sticking out of your back.
No, you're lying, man.
That guy's wearing too much axe.
Oh, the pun. But
That's good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Suki's super a trickster, so she's gonna.
She put on an act for me. I thought she was all wise, and then she's like, "Oh, goody."
Suki's awesome.
She's really good at performing. The last time that we had a game, I think she rolled like a 33 performance, so we got like 360 gold from our fortune telling.
Man, the last fight that we won was by her transforming into a naked version of Frederick, showing it, like his dick around, and they're like, "Yeah, fuck this, I'm done. I'm not fighting this guy." That was so funny.
Frederick wouldn't say if he wanted to fight or not, so I was like, "Fuck it, I got this."
and they like cast like spark or whatever, like made like the ground burn a little bit like smoke, and it's like this is butt magic, and like she as Frederick like slapped her butt cheeks, and the fucking ground started burning up.
Oh my god, what is happening? What are these characters?
They're fun.
I still don't know how the fuck to play. I'm just RPing for my life.
So far, that's been a lot of what we're doing as well.
Yep.
Great.
The only combats we've been in, Frederick is taken care of.
Yep. Yep. We didn't do anything. We didn't even get to do a turn.
Is that what you were naked?
Well, no, I can't wear armor because that would give me like spell failure and stuff. And I also already have like 17 AC, so just by being naked.
With armor.
No, she's like
not high enough.
She's like exactly looking like in the picture. Like she doesn't really have a feeling for privacy and all because that's not really a thing, and she's never met like anyone else of her kind of. And dragons are always naked, basically, you know. She's like looking out. She wants to become a dragon or as strong as a dragon one day. And well, they don't wear anything, so it's not really weird to her.
I believe you had enough time to talk.
Nope.
Can we have more time, please?
I'm
Kidding.
You insist.
I'm kidding.
Oh, sarcasm.
I'm fucking with you.
Ha 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 ha.
Aw, I thought that was fun.
Did I do that right?
No.
It's a little forced.
That was exactly right. Don't listen to these guys. That's how I laugh all the time too. Ha 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 ha.
I have never heard you laugh like that.
The Warforge is a little confused.
Welcome to the club, I'm Suki. And Derry.
He said, I believe it's time to discuss the briefing.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mage Slayer. Knight Slayer. King Slayer. There we go.
So,
Night Slayer.
what I need to tell you is that you should not be entering deeper into the city without my assistance, especially with your two newcomers.
Oh, that's me. Oh, hi.
And Elizabeth.
Oh, hey.
Yes.
Hey, I'm not alone in this.
Is my crew on my back? Or did you leave him?
No, he should still be on your back.
Cool.
He's just chilling.
What is this? A crow?
Macro is the little blue kobold that was.
Oh, I heard a crow, not macro.
Yeah. He's my little hype man.
He says to the west and to the north is deeper into the city. It takes 3 days for you to cross from this end of the city. And he points to the wall behind you. He says to the other end, and he points to the far end, but you can't see the end of the city. There's too many buildings in the way. He says from here on out, there is a small patrol of crusaders that are here to protect the merchants and the citizens from this area. If you go past them, then I cannot guarantee your safety while residing here. He says you'll outside of that area, There is mercenaries and league with necromancers that have been hired out to hunt down anyone that they come across, and potentially even portray themselves. They'll kill anyone that tries to leave, and they take more satisfaction in mostly looting and pillaging the buildings that are remaining outside this area than anything else. There's not too many of them, but they are skilled warriors, and the risk of fighting them is great. He says as well as heading into the aqueducts is also not a viable solution to sneaking around, as undead have littered the aqueducts, as well as other monstrous creatures that thrive on their presence, such as lizards and were-rats, and other potential lycanthrope. So be careful when you're traveling in those areas. However, the area that you are assigned to assist in is the outer walls, which the bandits have taken a liking to. You'll be assisting and helping dealing with the farming, as well as aiding the guard in whatever way you can. If you leave too far to the east or the southeast, which is a walled-in farming area that has been cultivated for nearly 50 years, it is quite a large farmstead and will take you 2 days to cross from the wall to the river. If you get to the wall, then you are in an incredibly dangerous area, as that's where the Temptress has many of her elite bandits waiting for a beck and call. Have you understood everything so far?
Okay, north and west are bad in the city. Aqueducts are bad. Outer walls are where we're supposed to go. East or southeast is a large farm, and if we go past that, we reach the actual wall, and that's bad.
He says, of course, you're adventurers. Bad is a kind of, how should I put it? Perhaps challenge.
And we're supposed to help with farming.
Of course, that is potentially a good idea. To even convince the bandits outside to disband would be a great boost to the farming community that lies around here. The skirmishes outside are quite weak compared to the mercenaries inside. They're not powerful, but they can still be lethal if you take them with not enough caution. Of course, a sword to the gut is still a sword to the gut, no matter who's wielding it.
We don't want to take a sword to the gut.
That takes guts.
Yes, it does.
Marcus is just gonna look
Well,
very pale at this whole situation.
But if I see that correctly, do you have guts?
I do. Just not the way that you do.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. Thank you. Not
A lot of
trying to be
cables.
offensive.
If you reach the wall, the forces there are quite powerful. The bandits outside are just simple skirmishers looking to make for some easy prey. Proving your strength in the area may help you dissuade them from performing any other banditry, as from my understanding, they are just poorly trained farmers who are just looking to get ahead in life.
Oh, that's sad.
Yes, so killing them, although easy and a very simple solution, is not ideal for the leaders of Kormin. Which is why you can, as you've probably noticed, or perhaps think, is why the Crusaders haven't been out there dealing with them.
You are so wise.
I'm just making observations.
Very good
You're
observation.
so observant.
It helps when I don't need to sleep.
Oh, okay. So are we ready to go, or is there anything else that we need to know? Oh, I have a question. Is it weird if I fly here, or will that be bad?
It would probably be unwise. The guards don't know what a wyvern is. Wyverns don't appear commonly in this plane, from what my understanding is, and neither
I
are
don't even know where my own plane is.
and neither is many monstrous creatures. So you will have to provide some sort of reassurance to the population. I have told them that you will be around, but flying around will probably still cause panic.
I don't want to
Which-
cause panic.
It took them a while just for me to even get comfortable around here without worrying anyone. So you will have to deal with that as well.
I'm comfortable around you. You're a nice guy, very observant, very wise. Doesn't need to sleep.
Many people don't see me that way.
Well, maybe because they're blind.
Regardless, as far as I can tell, as you do not need to participate in direct combat if you need to. As far as I know, you can just scout or perhaps use other methods to dissuade or move the bandits away.
I'm sure Suki will come up with a plan. We're sisters after all. She knows best.
Soul sisters.
And
Unlike
she tries
your
to high
previous-
five you.
Unlike your previous missions, time isn't a factor. You can remain here as long as you like.
Well, Penny did tell us we have lodgings. Is that over by where the farms are?
No, your lodgings will be shared with the barracks of the soldiers. However, I managed to secure a solitary room for all of you. There's a access of beds, but considering how large Neri turned out to be, I think you could turn some of the other beds into kind of pad for the rest on.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Yeah, can we buy gear for our new friend here? What's your name, by the way? I don't know your name. I've seen your face. I know you were at Suki's table, but what's your name? Who are you?
Marcus. Yeah, I'm not really anyone.
So
Or-
for my good friend Marcus here, we need equipment. Can we buy that somewhere where it's not super dangerous before we head out?
He says, potentially, but the merchants here are quite cheap. As in, they will try to take as much money from you as they can.
Oh, that's fine. I think we have experience in dealing with this kind of people, right, Suki?
I think we are this kind of people, Neri.
That is what I meant, but I didn't want to put us in a bad light.
That is exactly what I meant.
Alternatively, may I recommend another course of action?
Yes.
As your friend has already spoken and attested to, she seems to be a skilled crafter. I would recommend that you allow her to begin her craft immediately.
I forgot about that.
Hey, Elizabeth!
She just waves to you.
Macro, darling, go help Elizabeth with whatever she's doing.
Oh,
He says, all right,
Neri-
all right. Let's go. And those two start heading off to the markets.
Neri says goodbye to Macro and Draconic. She's so happy that she gets to speak Draconic.
He just waves goodbye to you.
Bye.
Neri tries to mimic the Draconic very, very poorly.
Roll linguistics.
What do I add to that?
Intelligence.
Intelligence?
Yep.
Okay, so that's 15.
Oh wow.
That's not the worst.
You get close. You say good pie.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Good pie. Sure. Oh, I like good pie.
My crew is kind of leading Elizabeth along, and he hears you, and he's like, "What?" He's a little
Where?
confused, but he's like, "All right, if that's what you want." So those two have left to go smithing, and I will make their rolls now. They both have diplomacy, so I will roll her diplomacy.
And we will go to the barracks. I'm assuming.
Okay, so you head to the barracks, and it's very simple very simple bedroom. It's got a couple armor stands, two weapon racks, a few chests for your belongings, as well as there's 8 beds in there.
Do I fit through the doors and the hallways and all that kind of stuff, or am I having issues?
It's a bit of a squeeze, but you can get in there.
Okay.
And
My, this is different than our caves, or the caves that I'm used to.
so, by the way, Marcus, what weapon and armor did you want?
Okay, hold on. Let's look it up. I had a short spear, a light crossbow, and an armored cloak, and then a buckler.
Okay. So, let me roll one more. So the light spear, and when she comes back, the light spear and the crossbow will be pretty mundane. Nothing too special about the ones that she crafts for you. And however, the masterwork one, you won't have these right away. You'll have to wait 8 hours. But the armor that she makes you will be masked, actually. And he's helping her. So that's +2. I don't know why I rolled that. So you will actually have a masterwork armored coat.
Oh, cool.
It doesn't give you extra armor, but it lets you get a plus. It allows you to use 1 more dexterity point from their dexterity, and it also lets you. It also removes it takes away a penalty point from your armor check penalty, so it should be 1 less.
Oh, that's good.
So you get 1 more dex for flexibility of the armor, and then you get another. It takes away a penalty point.
Oh, that's cool.
Makes things a little easier to use while in your armor. And masterwork also makes the armor viable for magical crafting. And in case this craft, she says that you should keep it because she thinks, looking at her studies, an armor of this quality would be viable for epic crafts.
Whoa.
She rolled a crit on her skill check for the armor.
Whoa.
Nice.
But the other 2 she rolled really low.
Oh well.
So they're just normal.
I'm okay with that.
So, although that is after 8 hours. So also because she crafts them, take half, subtract half from their gold count, and then put that to your gold pieces.
Okay.
And this will be effectively your starting gear since you didn't start with it when Nexus. Blah blah blah. So you guys are in this room and you guys set it up.
Yeah, I helped Mary pull mattresses and stuff to the floor for her and stuff like that, and pillows.
Thank you. So we're all gonna sleep with Marcus.
Yeah, of course. It's like a sleepover.
Oh, that's nice. I've never had this before. Usually people don't want to sleep with me.
Well, the first thing you've got to know about a sleepover is there must be a pillow fight. And she'll just take a pillow and fucking rock it at Mary.
Do I get a save or something?
It's just a pillow. She can roll and an attack with an improvised weapon.
Are you proficient in pillow?
No.
Do it. I want to see if you hit.
You can use your strength roll. Are you throwing it or are you hitting
Oh,
it?
I'm checking it.
Okay, use the dex. Just flat dex.
Okay, well, I rolled a natural 19 on the dice.
Jesus.
Yeah, you hit me.
So I'm hoping that hit.
Critical
My
pillow.
AC.
Critical pillow.
My
It
AC is 17.
So just roll me a d3. You're not gonna take damage, but
Me?
yeah. No, the name.
All right.
Sugio. Roll me a d3.
That would be 2.
Okay. The pillow takes a little bit of damage, but it's okay. It's still a pillow.
Can I throw it back? I want to throw it back, please.
Make an attack roll.
Oh shit, that's a 20.
Can I pull Marcus in front?
Oh god, no. Don't have the dragon lady throw stuff at me.
Oh my god. So
Roll
a 27.
Roll me a d3.
That's a 3.
Okay, so it does 6. And this pillow hits you, Sukio, and the fucking thing can't withstand being thrown so hard, and it just explodes in feathers.
Oh.
She's like, I like this game.
Explodes her head. This is fun. Marcus is just gonna slowly act like he's not doing anything, but then he's just gonna whack Sukio again once she's trying to get back up.
God damn it.
He's not gonna hit the dragon lady.
Make an attack roll.
I don't know what to do.
Make an attack roll.
I'm rolling a d20. Oh,
And add your
17.
dex. Add
So what's your
dex.
strength?
Oh, my strength is what? 13, so plus 1. So I rolled a 7. 18. Okay.
This is tutorial for you.
Yes.
Combat tutorial. My AC is 15, so it would definitely hit.
Roll a d3.
God, D3. You don't have a D3 on the dice roller.
D6 halved.
Oh, okay. Like there's no D3 option. I don't know what's 5 halved.
That's 3.
Okay.
So you hit her with the pillow, and it actually puts a pretty nasty tear on the pillow.
Oh
But
god.
it's still good. It can still be used as a pillow.
Are these like down pillows? Like, are they feathered?
Yeah, they're feathered.
Oh, that's
Okay.
awesome.
I want
There's
to grab.
feathers everywhere.
I want to grab as many feathers as I can and try to shove them down the back of Marcus's shirt.
Oh no.
Okay, roll me a sleight of hand at -5, and Marcus, roll me a. Well, what's your combat maneuver defense?
Where do I find that? CMD, right?
So what's higher, strength or dex?
They're both the same at 13.
Okay, so you have +1, and you don't have a base attack bonus at level 1.
So
as an
it's
orc.
12, right?
No, it's 11.
I don't. Okay.
So what'd you roll?
Oh gosh. Okay.
23 minus 5.
So yeah, you're way too fast for him. You just kind of, while he's turning around to pick up another pillow, you quickly take this huge fistful of feathers and just pull his shirt back and stuff them down his shirt.
Can
I do
go
something?
run and hide behind a bed if I can.
Oh, it's so itchy.
Can I like throw like a pillow in the air and slap it with my tail into Marcus's face?
God damn it! Not the dragon lady.
I totally want to do that, please.
Make me an attack roll.
I'm waiting for this natural one.
Oh shit, that is a natural one.
Yes! Calculated.
So instead of slapping it, you end up actually just stabbing your tail through the pillow, and it just fucking tears apart. And it shoots out feathers around you, and the pillow is stuck to your tail.
Please
Aw.
have someone enter the room just now.
I can explain.
This is not what it looks like.
Looks like you're killing a pillow.
So Kingslayer enters the room.
Oh, great. Great
and
person.
he opens the door, and he doesn't look like he immediately sees it. He walks in backward, somewhat sideways and backwards, and he says, "So I've spoken to the captain of the guard." And he turns around and sees all these feathers everywhere, and you
I'm
guys.
jumping up and down trying to empty out my shirt.
He looks at the room and he says, "Please explain your actions."
Suki will stand up and go in front of them and be like, I'm so sorry, Kingslayer, but we were just trying to teach the newbie how to fight. This was a combat training exercise.
Just gonna roll on the floor. Oh god, the blood's everywhere.
Roll
As I pull out feathers.
Roll deception at +2 with whatever bonus you have.
Well, I rolled extremely poorly for a bluff check. However, it's
Your
still
bluff
a
check is so fucking good.
yeah, it's still with your +2, 22.
Jesus Christ.
I rolled a
Gee.
2 on the dice.
You rolled a 2 and you got a 22?
Yeah.
What the fuck, Del?
Why do you think I'm so good at cheating people out of their money?
Jesus Christ.
He just stares you down. He says, "Oh, continue."
Take that pillow, and she tries to get rid of the pillow on her tail.
Oh, he's inside me. He's inside me. Oh god.
Take that, mean bandit. I mean,
He looks side to side. He says, "Well, I'm sure the captain of the guard can wait. Let the simulation of combat continue." And he goes out. He turns around, opens the door, sidesteps through it, closes it. And you can hear him walk to the other side of the hallway, but he doesn't. He just seems to be waiting.
I'm just on the floor and I'll just say, Captain of the Guard, that sounds kind of important. Should we deal with that?
well, I think so. Can someone help me get rid of this pillow bandit?
Yeah, I got you. Just gonna try and shove it off her.
Suki will come over to help, but she'll look like Marcus while she's doing it.
And while you're doing this, like the spell that's still on her tail is like still continuously ringing.
You know, this bell's just really annoying. This is why it's caught, you know?
Welcome to a game with us.
I need to save that John prop.
Oh, what?
I need to save that clip of JonTron.
Yeah. Why?
Why?
For fun.
I need to find a clip of somebody saying not.
For the glory of Satan, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, after a while, managed to pull the pillow. Well, pull the pillow off is a little redundant, as it actually just tears apart.
Feathers.
So simple.
When Elizabeth and Macru get back to this room, like if we're gone, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, we were in there
Who
like
died?
we were in there for like half an hour, and it looks like a hurricane headed the
Who
room.
killed everything but the pillows? Oh wait, no, who killed just the pillows?
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm ready to go now, and she still has like feathers on her back.
Yeah, as we walk, there's slowly
Yeah.
gonna be feathers
We're-
just trailing.
We're leaving a feather trail.
It's like, where the hell are they? See the trail. That way.
Yeah, but I'll be ready and then going out of the room.
So you removed all the feathers from each other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you step out. You step out, and he's looking at all of you, and he says, "So the combat simulation went well."
Yep. Every enemy has been defeated successfully.
No enemies remain. None left
Minor
standing.
casualties.
Oh yeah. It's a dark time.
I'm a little confused. You said that you were practicing for your companion, not slaying enemies.
Well, you know,
That's just part of the mind game.
with allies there are enemies.
That is a contradictory statement.
That is a correct statement. Just gonna
Yes.
step back, reminding myself that he's a metal man, and then I'm like, let's not make him mad.
Well, this is not the point. Well, where are we? Can we talk to the the guard person? I forgot the name.
You may speak
Captain
to him if
Gar.
you like. He is at the front gate. It's not far from here. Only a
Thank-
couple blocks.
Thank you, Kingslayer. And she'll just walk past him, squeezing through. Well, can she actually? Isn't it like if it's already a tight fit, she cannot pass him, right?
He steps to the other side of the hallway so you can walk past him.
Thank you, Kingslayer. That's very insightful. No, that's not the word. Well, very nice of you. Thank you.
He looks to Marcus and he says, also, this may prove useful for you. He gives you a potion of shield and a potion of cure light wounds.
Thank you. Yeah. Don't know what these do. Good
He
at
says,
pension.
this one, you drink it and it will provide a protective shield that not only provides you extra defenses against physical attacks, but also protects you from this simple spell called Magic Missile.
Ah,
He said, and then he points to the other one. He says, and drinking this one will cast another spell on you that you may recognize as Cure Light Wounds.
yeah, I think I know this one. Thank you very much. Just a quick question. You got any like pointers for like first time? Yeah, this is like I do not know what I'm doing, and he just like as he holds his spear that like he just recently got, he's like, I know this end is the pointy one. That's all I know.
He says, I thought you just participated in a combat simulation.
Well, I'm no, but you see, our enemies were very, very stagnant and didn't move at all, so it wasn't hard to miss.
He says, I will allow you a quick training session to help you learn the basics.
Oh, right now.
We will go to the training grounds, which is not particularly anywhere. It is just the streets.
Ah. Sure. I'll just look over at the rest of them. I'm just like, is this a good idea?
Well, I mean, we got a lot of training, and I think training is always nice, but only if you take a shower afterwards, unlike Frederick.
Yeah, sure. I will do that. I'll just turn to Kingslayer. I'll just say, let's go.
So he takes you outside and onto the street. He pretty much declares a 30-foot area around him as his, and the people don't want to fuck with him. So he's a giant, scary metal man with spikes on his body. He stands beside you, and he says, "You'll be learning very simple but very valuable techniques that will help you in life or death situations." And he's standing beside you, and he takes a combative stance. And he says, "Being this close to me and trying to run away, you'll be put in this situation where I can attack you. and he just puts his arm towards you, and he obviously reaches you from 5 feet away. He says, turning your back and running will allow me to attack you easily, as you have put yourself in a defenseless position. Though that is not the actual condition, that's just roleplay for he gets to attack you. He says, however, there is a method of movement that you can use that will allow you to move away and maintain a little distance that doesn't allow me to attack you. And you see him, he hops back. It's like a backwards lunge almost. And he says it is called the 5-step maneuver. And when he does it, he's about 10 feet away from you now. He says, he steps back to you, and he says, now you will attempt the same maneuver.
Oh god.
He
Okay.
said, hopefully you are successful. And he raises his weapon to attack you.
Oh shit. Erner. Okay, I'm gonna try and do it.
Okay, so it's not a difficult maneuver to pick up. And you realize that it's just a backwards jump pretty much. And you jump back and land away from him, and he swings and misses you. And he says, very good.
Hey! Cool, I did a thing!
He-
Yeah,
Good job, Marcus. You're doing so great. She's not even looking. She's looking around at something else. She's just like clapping and being like, good job.
I'm just gonna look over and just raise my like weapon and shield and just like, thanks! See, you're not looking. Ah. Okay.
He says, now I will tell you something. I will teach you another maneuver that you can use if you cannot move or flee and you feel like an attack could prove useless. So he starts pushing you back and he pushes you against the wall. Then he reaches into what he seems to look at these bracers, and he turns both of them on by putting his one hand on it, and he slides his axe on the other one, activating runes on those bracers, and 2 large tower shields form over his arms, and he slams them on your left and right. You kind of push them a bit, and they're very difficult to move. And he says, it may seem like cowering and fear, but raising your arms up and getting ready to block and dodge attacks can help improve your odds of survival. This method, in term for fighters, is called total defense. And he swings his fist at you.
Oh shit. Total defense. I used the things.
Okay, what's your AC with your armor on? And +4?
So I wouldn't use like my buckler shit. Okay, so 15 plus 4, so 19.
So he actually swings at you with pretty sizable force, and he punches your crossed arms with your shield, and it does hit you, and you kind of get pushed against the wall, but you don't take any actual damage.
Hey! That was cool.
He says, very good. He actually rolled enough to hit you without using. He rolled high enough to hit you without total defense, but not with it. So he then touches his bracers, and the 2 shields disappear in this kind of refraction of light. He says, I could teach you multiple combat maneuvers, but since you're not trained in those specifically, they may end up hurting you more. So we will avoid those for now. Those 2 are more important for your survival than anything. And remember, if you absolutely need to, you can run.
Very much noted.
He steps away from you.
Just as he walks away, I'm just gonna say, "Okay, thanks."
He
Bye.
he just waves goodbye to you, and now you're all regrouped.
Hey, so I learned these cool things. It was called like the total defense and like the 5-step maneuver. Yeah, we're kind of tight right now.
I was watching the whole time. You were doing so great, Marcus. It was amazing. I was really impressed.
This Kingslayer guy is like cool. He can make just shields just out of his hands. Just like boom shields. It was cool. It was cool. He's cool. I think I know how he got the name.
I don't think you know how he got the name.
Shh. Let me have my moment.
He got the name by actually toppling a castle while the king was still in it, and the king fell to his death
In his castle.
in his castle.
Damn.
So, you are looking for this captain, and you see a lot of crusaders walking around, but you do see one who looks above the rest. The crusaders are wearing golden symbols of what looks like tyr, so they have these golden symbols with huge great swords blazoned on their chest, and they are all wielding great swords as well. The captain as well is wearing them as well, but his pauldrons are also have golden symbols on them, which look like small scales on his shoulders, and his sword is very shiny. Looks like it's made of silver. He seems to be giving orders to them, and he tells them to go on patrol, and they leave.
Sorry
This-
for being late.
This sort of crusader captain, he's standing on a slightly higher kind of platform. There is a podium there, but he's not using it. You can see that he's over, as well as one other crusader. He seems to be overlooking the crowd and making sure that nobody is committing any petty crimes. This podium is also near the front gate. It looks like somewhat of an executioner stand as well, but they aren't using it for that. What do you guys do? Yeah, you guys see him. He's standing there. He's just gave out orders and sent people away.
Well, I think we should approach him, right, and talk to him. So, Neri will make her way up to him with her bell.
Ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
Bing, 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 bing.
Hello.
He looks at you and he sees you, and he says, "The bell is quite annoying, but I could see why you're wearing it. What do you want?"
Good day, good sir, Captain. We
It is
were
not a good day, but please continue.
well, day to you then, good sir. We are adventurers from the Adventurous Nexus. This is Marcus and this is Sukia. And we were sent here to help out with farming and some farmers that are causing slight issues. That's what we're here for.
These aren't slight issues. These bandits are running other farmers out of their homes.
With those major issues, we were sent here to help you out with that. That is what we're here for. So,
Of course, they had to send rookies.
we went on missions before. Marcus here hasn't, but I mean, I'm pretty sure we can help you make your day get better.
He says, well, he takes a deep breath, and he holds it, for about 30 seconds.
Dang.
And he lets go, and he says, follow me, And he takes you to this. It's not really an office. It's more of this armory, but it's private enough. It has a table in there and it has some maps inside. The armory is pretty big. It's about a 60-foot 60-foot wide and 100-foot long room, mostly full of armor and weapons, but this table fills the middle.
She says, you know, stress doesn't suit a strong man like you. Not at all. So maybe you should calm down a little and we can help you relax. I'm sure there's ways.
Roll diplomacy.
Yes, I just got a rank in that. That's a natural 20, so 31.
He stands on the other side of it, and he was a little annoyed with you at first, but after after you calm down and after you talk to him this way, he relaxes. His shoulders kind of lower a bit, and he says, "Yeah, that's probably true, but I have a lot of responsibilities. It's hard to make the right decisions all the time. A lot of unknown elements."
I understand. We're here to help you. So let's approach this step by step, and we can see how we can ease this, the situation.
Right. He's looking over the map, and you see that he's actually taking some time to think before he answers you. He says, "As you probably know, we have a lot of issues with these bandits outside, and Tyr has deemed it that they are unworthy for punishment, as the Golden City has been unkind to them, and so has our very own church. So we are unfit to punish them, as though punishment is not in order here. So our crusaders cannot be sent out there to deal with them. We have attempted to hire mercenaries. They usually work for gold, and we don't have the gold at the time to actually pay them to deal with this issue. And some of them have even turned and become per elite, which has been a huge issue in our side and a huge thorn in our side. Hopefully that won't be an issue for you. But the real issue is that there's so many bandits outside that are just common farmers. We can't just simply kill them. At least, not as crusaders. And we are lacking a lot of information. There are so many eyes and ears out there that simply scouting the place is difficult. And we're no thieves or rogues. So, it's not like we can just go out there and search around without being noticed. We try the best to see things from the wall, and we want to take the wall outside the city without having to use our siege engines. And we have been avoiding using siege engines on the bandits outside as well. We're not aiming, like I said, my goal isn't to not kill them. But if there is no other way, then it seems that is our only option.
Do you have prisons here?
In the Golden City, we do, but they're not here. This is more where the merchants come in. We have a prison up near the royal castle. As of late, the royal castle has been destroyed by some unknown force. And so a large portion of not only our courts, but our prisons have been destroyed. There is another portion that resides in temples that are spread out across across the city of Kormin. But being that they're in mercenary control and have probably been opened and released all their prisons, without a prison to actually have on our control, we have nowhere to put them. We've been putting them in the barracks and putting them in there under lock and key and supervision. However, and modified the room so they can't escape. However, it's a very we're hoping that this issue would be resolved, but Of course, it's been quite some time, and with no sign of ending, we are desperate to find more prison spaces for all these criminals.
And how many are we talking about here? Is this like what is the amount of the number of the bandits roundabout?
He kind of looks over. He kind of just, you see him kind of mentally dust off the question, like, are you, like, he, in his head, you can see he's like, are you serious? But he answers, eventually he does answer you, and he says, there's thousands of them out there.
That's a lot.
Because that's the other reason why we don't want to fight them. Is that, well, on top of potentially killing thousands of people, that's a proper war that we're declaring on our own citizenry.
Oh, no, we don't want a war. We want to avoid that. Okay. Thank you so much for the explanation. And do you have any questions? Like, she turns to Suki and Marcus.
We were told that the bandits were following somebody named the Temptress.
He is visibly angered when you bring up her name.
Do you happen to know what she looks like? Have a drawing or something of her?
No, not really.
Any descriptions been given to you of her? I'm very good at mimicking what people look like. It might be able to help sow misinformation throughout the ranks. 2 different temptresses offering 2 different things.
He looks you over and he says, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm not sure if misinformation is the correct way to go. Many of them are devout followers of her cause and leadership. If it is discovered that misinformation is in fact what happens, then I'm afraid that will only bolster their morale and reasoning.
What do they gain from this? Like, what do they gain from being with her? That no one would do it just for free.
He says, the thing about Kormin is that it has a lot of people in here, and it's not called the City of Gold for no reason. Any merchants and craftsmen and mages, and of course us crusaders included, all thrive on the prosperity and generosity of the farmers, which typically they get paid as a community rather than per pounds or anything like that. So I believe I think from what I heard from other farmers who have kind of come forward to talk with us, not really under the leadership of the Temptress, but as their own individuals, they have enlightened us to the fact that being priced that way has rendered them unable to sustain a living. And the courts, I believe, took too long to answer their cry. I think the Temptress took that as a political opportunity to seize their frustrations, to wage a somewhat war.
So she's just using them and manipulating people who are in need. Great.
Of course. Although it is completely beneficiary for the farmers to get this cause to occur.
Obviously, it's a quick way out.
The current queen has tried addressing the issue personally and has tried to increase the local lords to give up their squandering to encourage proper growth of the outlying farms. And of course, the local churches have agreed, and local leaders of those churches, I should say, have agreed to such terms. However, the merchants and the mercenary guilds that work with them, that work around that, they refused. Of course, losing out on money is not ideal, especially when you have to, and the paperwork for paying for separate, dealing with them all individually rather than as a whole community raises issues. Of course, they're prepared to deal with that when it comes to their own business, but not when it comes to their food supply, which is a little redundant, I admit, but I think they're just trying to save money in the end, which has caused us to get into this situation. I think the answer is within the politics of the area. However, I'm not sure how strong of a idealism that they have for the Temptress, or if there's any magic involved. If it were up to me, I would try to dissuade the population themselves, but that's because I'm not very good at policies and politics myself.
I mean, you're dealing with hopeless people. You're dealing with people who are basically just straight out of luck, and not even their own city is trying to help them. Obviously, when the light in the dark and someone hangs a fish over your head, you're gonna go for the bait. These are just people who just want to get by any means necessary.
That's as far as my understanding is. I know. I can't do anything about it, though. I am in charge of this, at least the defense of this meager area.
Well, my question is, what do you expect us to do about it? I mean, there's only 3 of us, and you said there are thousands. How many?
I didn't expect you to run out there and talk to them. They'll probably stab you. Though, I'll be honest, they aren't organized. They do travel in small groups, but that's besides the point. There are potentially thousands out there.
Is there some sort of leader in between them, or is this just every individual for themselves?
As I said, it seems that the from the way that we observe them, it doesn't seem like they operate in cells, which is groups that follow under another group. But if they did, they're being very cunning about it, as it seems that they all group up, but I think that's out of necessity in case the guards show up. We do have occasional patrols going out there, and we do have parties to try to talk them down, but it doesn't seem to bear any fruit. At least not any long-lasting ones.
Obviously, no one's going to listen to a guard. I don't know.
Well, maybe we should just try to get some more information from them themselves, because I know people talk in between each other and they usually talk about what's bothering them, so maybe that's a way we can figure out how to slightly disperse like the tension.
Some reconnaissance, I guess?
Yeah.
Like, do we want to hint that we're looking for a better way or a better life, and hopefully someone tells us about how to work with the Temptress? We're trying to,
Oh, you mean like blending in?
Yeah, sneak our way in to the group, figure out how the inner workings are. Could be beneficial. Do you guys have that information?
He thinks about it, and he says, I'm not particularly certain. I'm not, if there is any espionage, he says, I wouldn't know about it. He kind of just taps his armor. He says, devout paladin.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm just here to make sure that the bandits don't get into the city and that the city defense is suitable for the merchants in the area.
So we'll just try to get more information, and with this information, we will hopefully get the right clues for what the action levers are. So I don't know if that makes sense, but what turns them around basically, or makes them go back to the former peaceful lifestyle.
And I think he's already told you what would do that, but He just doesn't have the time.
So he's sure that if we talk to like the merchants and all that and got them to give the farmers gold, they just give up their worship of the temptress and go back to farming. Because if they're that devout, I don't think that would work.
That's what he's worried about. That's his concern too, because he says if they're actually devout to her cause, then it won't work regardless. They'll just keep taking money until they give in, until you're out. Then they'll use that as an excuse to attack.
So it's better to see what their motivations are and why they're following the temptress first. And if it's just a matter of convenience, then we can probably just gold them away. But if it's not,
Yeah.
Could I make like I don't know. I have like knowledge local. If that could help me in any sort of way, I don't know.
Do you have knowledge planes?
No, not knowledge planes. That's the only one. He's
Okay.
a city boy.
Roll me knowledge local.
All right.
I have knowledge planes if you want me to roll something.
Oh shit! Natural 20.
Nice. Never mind.
Nice.
What's your bonus?
Oh, hold on. I have a rank in it. Hold on. Okay, 1 plus 2 plus 6. So 26.
All right. So, what do you want to know?
Why?
Why? What?
Why?
Why?
Very broad,
This-
but I hope
this
it gets me.
doctor's-
It gets me the most bang for my buck, is what I was hoping for.
This doctor's gift. But
Shit.
why?
Shit. Okay. Shit. I didn't think it'd work. Crap. Just how simple it would be to just deal with it. Oh no. Fuck. God damn it. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm asking for. I just hoped I'd get something.
It's a knowledge check, so it's not. I can't help your character understand something. I can just tell them what you know, what you want to know.
Just picturing Marcus behind us going, crap, no,
Shit.
almost got it, no.
Damn it. No, I have it. It's like, oh. It's like,
So
I know it. I know this thing.
So just ask a question, and I'll tell you if you know it. And if you do know it, I'll tell you what it is.
See, I don't even know the question.
Nary just
ask.
jingles the bell in front of his face. Does that help?
No, it's actually making it worse. God dang it.
Oh. Well, but I think we're done here, like with the captain, are we not?
I mean, that's up to you. He has a lot to say.
Okay. Shit. I don't know. There's so many broad questions that I can do. I'm like, well, that doesn't really get me anywhere. The thing.
Just ask them. You got it. Basically, I'm assuming you want to know information about Kormin, right?
Yeah.
So basically, when it comes to Kormin, you made an epic check. So if there is something to be known about Kormin, unless it's a very specific or hidden details, you wouldn't know about it. But everything else, you would know. When it comes to Kormin. So you know their local culture, you know how they talk, you know how they think, you know what they want to do, you know why they do the things that they do, and you know that this place is pretty religious, but it has many religions inside of it. So it's a very diverse religious place, but all the gods are good. Is that a vacuum?
Yeah, sorry, that's my grandma in the back. Sorry. But would I know if like the farmers are like extremely religious? I don't know. Like people that live out in the
Or
farmland.
superstitious?
Yeah.
Superstitious? Well, superstitious is kind of a weird term in the fantasy setting. So
There's the magic.
Good point.
Yeah, we know.
Let me
Oh,
just-
Black Cat. Oh, that's my neighbor.
Hey, Steve. Hey, hey Jack. Meow.
All right. So you know a lot of. You actually know most of the lords and where they are. You've studied Kormin pretty thoroughly on your breaks and on your downtime. So you know a lot about Kormin, and you know a few legends. And one of the legends is that about 20 years ago, there was a Tarlorn shard that lived here, and it greatly influenced the uprising and undead that's currently happening today. The undead, though, are pretty fragile, and they don't typically have any leadership. However, when they do have leadership and they are discovered by necromancers or other intelligent undead that can make use of them, they do follow them pretty easily, and they're very susceptible to manipulation. So it greatly impacted Kormin and has reduced them to where they are now. The city is basically this giant area that hasn't been used for a long time. So they've been under siege for a very long time and are having difficulty struggling and staying alive. The laws are basically down to Tyr and Heronius. Do the right thing, be heroic and brave. Your word can be used in the court of law. So if you say something, you make a deal, but you don't shake hands or you have it on parchment, it doesn't matter. Your word is law. So if you say you're going to do something, then you are bound by your own words. So the spoken word to the citizens is a very big and important deal. Because of that, customs are very important, since many people follow Shanti, who, especially the farming community, they believe in her thoroughly, and they make offerings to her about every month, and they usually hold large potlucks. Even despite being part of this sort of siege, they still hold them because they have enough bodies to do both at the same time. As the most humanoids live in this area, so tieflings, Asimars, humanoid creatures. There's a lot of diversity in that regard as well. However, monstrous humanoids like gnolls, lizard folk, and a few exceptions like orcs and half orcs. Actually, not half orcs, but orcs and goblins. They are frowned upon and and they're not trusted.
I will relay all this information
Oh.
to the party.
So basically, as long as it's not specific information like what's this guy do on his down, like for fun, then I'm not gonna tell you that, but you'll at least know who he is. You might know
Wow.
some basic information like what he's known for. That's about it.
They were already covered since when this whole thing started, and is there like a public description of the Temptress? Like, you know how there's rumors.
She wears armor she wears wyvern hide armor,
Oh.
No.
and she rides one
Nice.
around. She rides a wyvern, and not only one, but she has 3 of them at her disposal.
Oh my god.
She's a very powerful threat, and if you are declared her enemy, her own personal enemy, she will run you down if she finds you.
So
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
Daenerys Targaryen. Okay.
Well, she doesn't usually travel with her wyverns all at once, but if you enter her home turf, she will release them all, and she has very significant control over them all. Not through magical means, from at least their understanding, but they do seem to be kind of domesticated towards her. So she is a very strong opponent, and her elites are not a joke either. They tend to be other casters and very strong warriors as well.
You know, there's just this thought process going in my mind. I really want to know what the local farm workers think of her, which is why I'm kind of thinking of a whole.
Well, they've already pretty much told you their thought process behind it, and essentially you agree with it. What you know about the farmers is that they're very prosperous people, but they are being, at least according to what you've read, they are being pretty much robbed every year. What they put into the city is not the same as what they get, and that's very obvious. And from what you read about the financial records, is that it's pretty much the case. You've read some notes from some lords who testified towards it, and he pretty much agrees. He says we save a lot of money by not doing the same business towards the farmers as towards the craftsmen or the mercenaries. We don't weigh their food. We don't do everything. They seemed completely content with their yearly wage.
Well, then I think it's time to find out if gold would suffice for them to change their minds, basically, or if there is a greater motivation than that, and we can't get that from neither the captain nor general knowledge.
I think our only course of action right now is go speak to merchants.
And if they end up using the merchants, then I feel like reconnaissance is in order. We need to figure out.
Merchants. There's the merchants, which are the ones you can find around here, but the merchant lords are the ones that you have to talk to. And the difference between them is that the merchant lords actually own huge ass guilds. And these guilds are monstrously huge. Take up miles of land.
And are they the merchant lords? They're not situated in a place of the city where all those shitty mercenaries and shit are they?
Some of them are, but some of them are in this area.
Yeah.
At least that's what Marcus would tell you. He tells you that some of them were forced to live here because they couldn't afford to keep the mercenaries away anymore through money. And the mercenaries that were hired to guard them turned on them, so they had to leave. But apparently the vastly superior guilds who sell arms and armor somehow keep them away through other methods.
You're so knowledgeable, Marcus. I'm so glad we brought you.
Yeah, public libraries are kind of a blessing, And, reading books about cities of gold is kind of something interesting.
Well, it is our course of action then. And thank you very much, Captain. I think we've heard enough. And Marcus here seems to know a lot about the city. So I think it's time for you that we will leave you to the rest of your tasks. And take a deep breath in and out, and it's going to be all right.
Everything's going to be all right.
Be all right.
He says, well, it's really up to you, I guess. I've done everything I can for you, unless you need supplies or something.
No, I think we're pretty good on that.
All right. If you need to use my guards for something, just alert them. If you need a raid done in a specific area or a specific part of the city, just let me know. But if you need to attack the farmers, we won't do such a thing unless you have a very good reason for us to attack our own citizenry.
Oh, one last question. Do you have anything that would would display me as not a threat and basically in service because people have been looking all weirdly at me because, look at me. So
Like
I
a big banner of Bahamut on her.
He scratches his helmet. He's like, right. He looks around. He says, I don't really have anything in the armory.
Well, you can write something on my belly then.
She's okay.
He clears his throat and says, that's a little intimate. He says, and since considering how you walk, I don't think many people are going to notice your belly.
Right. Then maybe on my wing or my back.
I think the only recourse is to put it on your butt.
Or on my tail.
That's the only course.
Well,
By the way,
if it's necessary, then I'm okay with it.
Everyone needs to stare at a dragon, but
He just shakes his head. He says, I think everyone can see your anklet just fine. So as long as you don't lose that.
All right. Okay, if that's enough. All right. Thank you. She walks out.
While they were having this conversation, Suki was just sliding a pamphlet under some of the papers on his desk, and she'll follow Neri out.
Okay. He's like, so as you're leaving, he's like, huh? And he picks it up and looks at it. He's like, butt magic. He just shakes his head and he says, this must have been left behind by the other soldiers or something.
This is some crazy fantasy.
pornographies.
He kind of reads it over and it's just basically got pictures of butts on it. He's like, I think it's the same butt. And he's inside it for a moment, and then he walks by the armory forge and he throws it into the fire.
It's okay, I have more.
Did she like draw those or?
She had them commissioned.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, because she would have had to get a weird angle to be looking at Frederick's ass. So
Printing press and everything.
So
Yeah.
let me get this straight. Not only to look at his ass. There was at one point during the fucking day that you had in downtime where you commissioned an artist to paint him while he was taking another shower.
Oh my god.
No. She went to the artist in looking like Frederick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Just
she posed for him.
She
I
took
want-
the same pose, like with the legs like spread as far as possible.
Yeah. She
What's
even
going on?
arranged her dancing lights so it got like the perfect lighting.
Oh,
so
wow.
like the shading on that thing is just fantastic. Like it's just absolutely on point.
It's fucking
Extra.
gorgeous.
Extra thick.
It reminds me of Lyra. It's like, yeah, she's got her wings out. She's just fucking gorgeous.
Yep. Fucking gorgeous. So good.
Oh god. Okay, let's talk to a merchant lord.
Woo!
Politics.
From one bud to another.
Oh, nice ass.
So you don't know where one, even though you know the local information, you don't know where one is. So you guys ask around, and
Hey, where's the merchant lord?
he says somebody just says he owns a villa up there. It's a little fenced-in area. There's 2 guards there, not crusaders, just guards.
Shoot. Okay. Crap. Do we have like orderly business?
I don't know. Do you?
I'm not talking to you.
Alright. He's a little hurt, and he walks away. He's
I'm
like,
sorry, bro. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it.
No, Neri will pat him on his head.
Get away from me, you dragon!
I'm not doing
He
anything.
picks up his pace and he just kind of hobbles away.
Wait for me.
That
poor
Like,
guy.
really
Wait
wants
for
to
me.
bat him though.
No.
God damn it! And like she goes back with his head jingling over a bell.
I feel like espionage is going to be great with the three of us. Oh, it's gonna be great. Seeing as how that interaction went great.
Aw,
Hey,
he didn't
so
want to be comforted by me.
do you know about an Empress Tay? It's like what? It's like, the good shit.
Let's go to this villa.
Yeah.
Okay. So you approach the front entrance, and it's the little walled-in area is made of sandstone. It's pretty nice to look at. It's got some decorations and stuff in it. The wall itself is not that thick, maybe about 3 inches. You see the 2 guards there? They're head to toe in armor, carrying halberds, looking around, looking for trouble, watching the passerbys. They do occasionally talk to each other from time to time, and they sometimes laugh. Though they don't really move from their spots. They sometimes pace a bit and look around the corners of the fence, but there's always at least 1 guard at the gate. About 15 feet through the gate, which isn't even a gate, it's more like just an archway. There you see the front door to the building, and you do see somebody pacing up and down the window. Like you see a window, and there's somebody walking across it from time to time.
Hey Suki, maybe what do you think? Maybe we can charm them with our charming personalities and convince them to let us know if they think we're trouble.
We can give it a shot. What do you think, Marcus?
I thought we had a pretty good and viable reason to actually speak with a merchant lord, so I just thought we could just walk in and just say, hey, we got hired by the captain of the guard.
Well, you know enough about Kormin. If you think that's a good way to go. then
I
let's do
mean,
that.
I don't know. I don't know if he's taking visitors today. So we can just find out. If not, we can go to plan B.
All right. So you go ahead, and if that fails, we'll just see what we can do.
Sure thing. Cool. I know what I'm doing. Walks over to the guards.
All right. The guard looks you over, and he says, the merchant lord's not looking for any visitors at this time. Please move along.
Okay, walks away.
Alright, so there's no conflict. He's just like, the guard is a little confused. He's like, oh, I guess he got the wrong address. And just stands on guard.
Wait, no, I'm gonna go back. God damn it.
Wait, is this time for plan B already? Because
No.
I'm so ready.
As I walk back to them, I just I think to myself for a bit, I'm like, no, I can keep going. No. Wait there, plan B, not yet. Okay. I go back to the guards. Hey, hi, sorry. Yeah. I was hired by captain of the guards to speak with the merchant lord right here about a certain situation that's going on in the farmlands, if anything. Just talk about how we can address this situation a little more quickly.
The situation with the rebels, right?
Yep. Exactamundo. Got it.
Finger guns.
Yeah, exactly.
Says, well, you can arrange an appointment if you like.
Okay. You see, the thing about appointments is that they are usually a delay. And when you have rebels threatening to attack the whole city, that is kind of an urgent matter. If there's any way that you can get me in to talk with him right now, I mean, I can see him in the window right there. And I'm just gonna point at the window.
He's like, he looks up and you guys watch him walk by, and he's very cordially dressed. You do assume it's him. And the guard looks back to you and he says, yeah, you see
This is an
scroll?
urge.
He's reading something.
Well, I mean, it's such an urgent matter. I mean, this is from The captain of the guard himself.
He
I
says
don't want to disappoint.
the captain of the guard doesn't have any authority over the merchant lords.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just doing my due part for the city. I mean, do you want to help this situation that's going on with the rebels or not?
He says, "Look, man, it's not my job. It's not my problem."
I just gotta talk to him. That's all we gotta do. We just need him to give people some money.
How well can we see the merchant lord from here?
He's about 25 feet away. You can see him pretty well. He's he walks by the window fairly often. He's holding the scroll up. You don't see what he's reading, but you can see he's reading something. There is
what
writing.
you're doing. I know what you're doing.
Suki's gonna go out of sight and change into the merchant lord.
Oh gosh.
Oh no.
I already pointed out that he's in his own building, girl.
It's an imposter.
Exactly, you. You're gonna get us killed.
Okay, so you approach the guards while he's talking to Marcus.
Yep.
Please, I just really need to talk to him. I mean, the sooner we can get this done, the sooner this whole rebel situation can possibly end.
Okay, the merchant lord approaches the door, and the two guards say, the one guard says, "You know what? I'm getting really sick." And he looks past you and sees their boss walking towards him, and they say, "Wait,
I'm just as confused as you, dude." What?
They look over to each other, then they look up at the window, and they're like, "No one can enter." they just look at each other again, and they look at Tsukio, who's disguised as their boss, and they say, "You're not allowed in."
Are you telling me that I can't enter my own home? And what are you doing talking to this filthy commoner?
Oh, hey, I've been meaning to talk to you, actually. Hey,
Oh
can
god.
roll me.
I don't know it's her either. So,
You can roll me either Tsukio has to roll me local or nobility.
For knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. Can I do like history?
No.
Okay. So that may or may not have been a natural 20.
So you've never met this man in your fucking life,
just
and
get it.
you blindly guess the accent of his voice.
Oh my god.
And they're like, "What's your total?"
26.
They're like, though they look at each other again. They're like, can you give us 1 moment, my liege?
If I must, but it better be quick.
He says, "It's no problem. It's just there could be somebody else in your own house right now, and it's not safe for you to be in there."
What? Are you telling me somebody is impersonating me?
He says, "Well, we don't know everything for sure yet." And he kind of points out the guy, the real merchant lord, walking around your the window.
I am sure this commoner has something to do with it. And I grab Marcus's arm and I'm like, "You're coming with us and we're going to figure this out," and start marching towards the front door.
Hey, while I have your attention, do you mind sparing some gold for the local farmhand?
You sound like a door-to-door beggar. Like,
All right,
Mind making a small donation to your local?
so you You are being pulled to the fucking building. You guys go inside, and it's very obvious where you need to go. This place is pretty small.
Well, I wasn't with them. Like,
The
Oh,
one
Neri.
guard doesn't let you in there.
well, I'm trying to just like walk in like right behind him, like nonchalantly, like, "Yep, I'm
The
good."
guard- the one guard stops you, and he's like, "No, you're not allowed in there." And the other guard is following behind Sugio and Marcus.
And she's like, she's trying to charm him. She's like, "But look at you! You're such a strong and handsome guard. You can like close an eye for me, can you not?"
He kind of like looks at you. We'll get this out of the way, and he says, "Yeah, I know that. You don't have to tell me."
Well, I can not only tell you but show you after you let me in.
What?
He's like, he's very confused now. He's like, "This is the weirdest day ever," and he's like,
Can we hear this conversation?
It's kind of drifting behind you as you walk in. And he's like,
She strokes his back with her tail.
Oh, God.
he's like,
Sex right now. Let's go.
he's like, "What's in it for me?"
Well, that would mean me.
Oh.
What
Right
the
now.
fuck?
Let's
But
go.
after you let me in, you let me and I let you in. This is how this works.
Oh my God. Did you seriously just say that? Let me in. I'll let you in. Sandra! Oh my God.
I mean, she's really charming, so she's trying to use her acids.
I'm done. I'm done.
Her acids.
I'm done.
He's
done.
kind of looking over the things, like looking over stuff. Roll a diplomacy at -5.
Okay. That's a natural 2026.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
We're gonna pay for this later. We're gonna
Oh
get
my
so many ones.
Oh my
So-
God.
He's like, he looks over to he says, and he says, 100%, like, this is for real.
As I am real.
Hey, Steve, I'm going to take my break right now.
He says, "Shake my hand."
She's having difficulties with her hand, but she's doing that. No?
Right? And
I thought you didn't do that here, though.
you, as soon as you say that, you feel this kind of strange magic flow through not only him but you, and you get this very minor like mark on your hand. It's this blue mark.
Huh.
And
South.
and
A sex stamp.
he looks over to the gardener and he
Or
says,
committed.
"Watch the door. I'll give you my halberd." And the gardener's like, "What? What?" And he walks he takes you by the hands and he takes the garden, gives the halberd to the gardener, and he's like, "Watch the door. This is important." And he takes
Very
you-
important, she winks at the gardener.
the gardener's like, "What the fuck?"
What is this guy?
And he goes, he's nervous, but he goes and stands beside the door. And you guys go into this gardening house in the back.
In the shed.
Yeah, it's basically a shed.
Is the shed big enough for me, though?
Yes.
'Kay.
It's like a 15-foot by 15-foot area.
Fair enough.
And as the Sims say, you will.
You will. Well, I'm not going back on my word.
You have no choice. You're legally bound to.
You are legally bound to sex now. To prostitution.
No, prostitution's legal in Kormin.
Okay.
So
do you make me roll something here?
Finesse.
oh,
Sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
Sorry, I need to get in somehow. So,
So does
One-
he.
right?
God damn
So
it.
I thought. So I thought that was like a win-win for both of
All right.
Oh my god, you get in. You let me in. I'll let you. Oh my, Sandra, that is. Oh god, I am remembering that quote for all
That is about-
time.
What?
Roll me a sleight of hand. Roll me an acrobatics or ride, and roll me a
Please do right.
fortitude save.
So sleight of hand is, what is that? Oh, does that go? That goes on my dex, right? That would be a modified 20.
Okay.
What was the next? Acrobatics or ride, right? Yeah, cool. Goes on dex
Acrobatics
too.
or ride.
That's 22 on acrobatics. And the last one was a fortitude save, right?
Yep.
11.
Well, roll me percentile.
2 minutes in, he's done.
Basically, roll the 1.
Oh.
80.
Okay. So this is a very short incursion, at least on his part. Upside is at least he knows which hole where it goes.
Oh god.
He actually crit on his knowledge nature check, so he knows exactly where to go.
I know the hole.
So weird.
Unfortunately, he has performance anxiety because you're a fucking dragon, and he only got like a 9 on his.
Quite
sleight of hand.
literally.
He only got a 9 on his performance, and he rolled a 1
Oh.
for it.
Not fun.
I'm not really pleased, but I'm like, oh well, do what you gotta do. Come on, let's do this. Let's get this over with.
Okay. He's incredibly embarrassed, but the little marking that's on your hand is over.
All right.
And he still has his marking. He says, "You're free to go in."
Oh, thank you. And you were too, I guess. So have a great day. What's your name?
I don't want to tell you it.
Okay. Well, I'm Dragon Lady, or Neri.
I'm Dragon Lady.
So, until the next time. And she walks out of the shed and goes to the house.
He almost goes mute, but he's like, "Next time." So
She's like super pleased with her performance. She's like, "Yep, I think I did everything right."
That's how the sex works.
Oh, fuck. So, you guys.
Oh god,
Head
now
down.
how's this gonna work out?
So you head out, and the guard takes back his post, and the governor's like, "What happened?" He's like, "Shut the fuck up."
We're gonna get arrested.
So, meanwhile, so you're in there for 2 minutes. You two, on the other hand, the one guard is following you up, and he's like, "Hey, you can't. I told you to stay at the." And he's like, "Oh, it must be our boss." And you guys go upstairs to confront the merchant lord, and he's looking, he's reading something, and he's muttering to himself. But when you guys storm up the stairs, he's like, "And who is this imposter?"
I say, who is this imposter?
And he says, "How cunning! She can't even use that person cannot even use their own words. And how could you let her in?" He's like, "I don't know. He's just exactly like you, in every way." He's
I
like,
really am.
Just
Of
gonna
course.
wave.
I
Just
will
like
have
that.
I'll have to deal with this incredibly egregious crime myself.
Just
just not gonna affiliate myself at all with Suki. I'm just gonna say, hi, I'm Marcus. Whichever one of you is the real merchant lord, I would like to speak with you.
He says it's
Can
no
the real
matter.
merchant lord please stand up?
They're both already standing.
Can the real merchant lord please sit down?
Speak up.
He says, I guess I'll have to deal with this myself. Fine. Have it your way. And he walks over to this shelf. There's full of scrolls.
Oh shit.
He reaches over and takes one.
Oh shit.
You let me know when I can like stumble in, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. And he looks to you over and he says, you have until I read this scroll to tell me your true identities and what you mean. And perhaps we can make some sort of negotiation. However, if I read this scroll, then I will presume, and once you tell me your true names and where you hail from and your organization, I will have you arrested and you will probably be spending many of your times working in the fields that I will have you working in for the rest of your life.
Suki will drop the disguise stuff because all she wanted was to get in because it didn't seem like Marcus was able to get in. So she wasn't actually like intending to be this guy. It was just funny. So
Okay.
As soon
The
as she
guard's
drops
like,
form.
okay, so he is looking at his scroll and he's eyeing it up, and then she drops her form and he says, so, I see you see reason. And he puts
It
the
was-
scroll away.
it was the only way to get in to talk to you. Your gods wouldn't let us in. We're from the Adventurers Nexus, and the captain of the god told us that we were to deal with the bandits. And to deal with the bandits, he gave us your address that we should be coming to see you because you are one of the greatest merchant lords in this entire city.
That's hardly the truth, but I'm listening.
Well, the captain told us that in order to help bring all these bandits back into the fold rather than committing genocide would be to pay them better. And we were told to talk to the merchant lords. So that's all we came to do. We came to talk. We didn't come to, well, I came to create a fuss a little bit, but it's just me. But yeah, so Marcus here knows a lot about Kormin, but he would know better exactly what you need to do. Floors to you, Alex.
As soon as you drop form, I'm just like, Suki, hey, you were him the whole time. Oh,
I
that
said,
makes sense.
I know the local area very well, and I'm well aware of the problem with the farmers. However, if they wish to be introduced into the Marketing Act, then we will have to gather the merchant lords first and foremost and agree to such a new system to be put into place, or at least to reintroduce them to our old one. Now,
Yeah,
of course, we could sit here and talk about the policies. Not that I expect you to understand.
Nope.
You'd be surprised.
Very well then.
I just feel it's best to avoid utter catastrophe and just comply with what the farmers are asking, which is anything but just it's right. It's right of them. It's equal pay. It's just
And
what they deserve.
And that is why you're a low-life adventurer and I am a highborn merchant lord.
You know, I just got the title today, so don't put no hate on me, man.
He was a busboy before this. This is a step up.
I was even lower than this, like
Oh.
yesterday.
Oh, fantastic. I You know everything now. I'm glad you understand.
Well, you know, I've read a book.
But on a more serious note, how do we get all of the merchant lords in agreement then? You said we have to bring them all together and have
Oh,
a.
yeah.
What do you suggest is it's a baby bunny. Sorry, got really distracted.
Pet rabbit in the cage. Like,
Just in the office, just like, what do you suggest? Oh, bunny! What do you suggest we do?
oh, sorry. It's not like a cage. It's more like a tank. It's got an open top. The rabbit just can't get out of it. It's got food and water in there.
Oh, bunny!
An aquarium. It's a swimming bunny.
It's an aqua bunny.
An
Yeah.
aqua bunny.
And he says, "So, might as well take a seat." And he offers you a seat at the table. And as you guys are taking a seat, he looks over to the guard and he says, "You have failed your duties again. Please go outside and remain being a disappointment out there."
Oh, that's not cool, bro.
The guard's like, "Oh man."
I'm just gonna shout at the guard. I'm just gonna say, for the record, you know, we pulled off a good ploy.
He's like, "Yes, and even though it was a grand ploy, that does not excuse his disappointment."
Oh.
Okay. Can I please squeeze in through the door when he's leaving?
So the guard's like,
even
I'll head
more of a
outside.
disappointment. As another person just walks in.
The guard's like, he walks down the steps a bit, and he's like, "Marcus?" And he's like, "What? Now, you imbecile." He says, "There's a dragon down in here." He's like, "What?"
Yeah, she's with us too.
He says, "Oh, clearly I need to fire these two idiots and get a new pair."
I mean,
And he was like, "Oh man," and he like starts heading back outside.
And she's like, I don't know. The other ones seem to have done a quite decent job. Not too good, but decent. You know what I mean. And she goes inside.
She has a bit of an aroma to her.
Okay.
we just
That's
got
fine.
two poor guys fired.
So Neri has a bit of an aroma to her.
Smell like dry ale.
So the Marcus is
Yes.
obviously a little annoyed with the presence of you three, but he says, "So, the policies. Am I
What?
the?"
Wait, I thought you were telling us the policies.
Yes, I got distracted. I had to recall them.
Oh,
I know
gotcha.
it's a bunny. Yeah, it's very distracting.
Yes,
It's
I
a
have to
maybe.
make sure that Sir Charles III gets efficient water.
Neri gives the merchant lord the hand. She reaches out to him. She's like, I'm Neri. Hi.
He can smell you, and he's like, "No."
Such a dick. He smells you. No.
Well, granted, it took some convincing to get up here, but my companions just left me behind outside, so I had to find a way. And I did, and now I'm here. So, how are you?
You did very well.
I'm gonna have him roll a sense motive.
Oh my god.
He's just sitting there.
You just did it, didn't you?
He's just sitting there, and he's like, he kind of takes another sniff, and he's like, "That's gross."
I'm not
Wait, I
gross.
know that said. That's that guard outside, isn't it? Knows exactly what it smells like.
He just sits
That's
there.
Dave, isn't it? God damn it. Dave.
Damn it,
fired.
Dave.
You're fired.
He's just so annoyed right now. He's like, "Good to know that my one guard's a sleazeball and my one guard's incompetent." Good.
We just got two guys fired, man.
So
Well, at least one guy got laid for it.
The other guy, this poor guy, just got fucked over. Just three people.
So, I want you out of my house as fast as possible. So let's begin the conversation.
Hey. Yeah.
So the policy is usually based on weight, and that weight is in exchange is transferred to gold. Nothing special there. However, we do have a contractual weight difference for every material that enters this place. And of course, food is a little different and much more complex than gold and iron and other materials, hides, etc., etc. As many scales, many hides, many bones, they all weigh this close to the same. Food, however, is much, much, much different. And of course, we could do everything separately and weigh leaves and weigh vegetables and weigh fruits and weigh meat and different meats, all in different categories as well. But of course, not all meat weighs the same. Not all vegetables weigh the same, etc., etc. So it was a complexity at first to add it all together, and especially food. Most food weighs more than most paper and most other mundane supplies. That takes fairly great effort to make. Not saying that it's easy to make food or water or vegetables and plants. So it was agreed upon by the merchant lords to give the whole a weight category. So we do have to weigh all the farming equipment and the farming materials, and we do pay for some of the destruction of property that, of course, comes from tending land and replacing animals. Of course, that is only a certain percentage of it. And when the farmers raised the issue of not enough gold to make it through the years, we did try to expand the listings. Of course, the churches had no problem with it, but of course the churches don't really fund their own structures very well, as they give out most of the services for free. So they don't have much weight and say in what goes on with the of course the production and trading of goods. So they don't really get much of a vote, though it's more of a communal vote for their community. So once they unanimously decided that the farmers needed more gold, we added their votes into the pool that we have. And of course, the guards get their own vote, and with the mercenary guilds voting onto the merchants section, we added their considerable votes. They were quite indifferent, and they were very separated on the issue. So it was up to the merchant lords. And of course, many of us disagreed with creating new categories for each food and farming production. And I am unfortunate to say, if I knew this was going to happen, I was one of them that disagreed, as it's very complex and very taxing on not only the farmers but on the patience of our employees to scale everything and produce everything by price in that regard. The Queen, however, did motion to veto it to a degree. However, according to the laws, she can only change the rule by so much, and according to the same laws, she cannot change the subject again. So it was increased for a duration forcibly by our queen. But okay, so we'll end the game soon then. So he says the queen did change it and increase the wages that we have to give to the farming community, but her vote wasn't enough to against all the merchants to change the system, or at least add them to our own policies. Does that make any sense?
It made plenty of sense. And you said you've since changed your mind about the subject just based on what's happened in the interim.
Well, of course. The Kormin is in horrible predicament right now. And of course, the merchant lord, at least the merchant lords that have been moved out of their homes or are tired of dealing with the mercenaries that are rampaging around and pillaging everything for those vile bastards. We desperately need to gain control of those lands again in order to even encourage such a thing to happen. So it's not that the merchants don't want to fix the problem now, it's that we can't. And of course, you need to solve one problem in order to fix the other. If we had the farmers to help us and formed a militia using what materials the bandits have already provided, we could feasibly make a strong enough force to face off against the mercenaries and shove them out.
But that's the exact thing that the Guard don't want. They don't want a full-on scale war within their own citizens.
Yes, the mercenaries are different. They are not classified as citizens. They do have guilds, and they are run by mercenary lords who are considered citizens and are considered proper lords. However, the mercenaries themselves are not considered citizens. So so what we are proposing as at least the merchant lords who are forced to live here or are forced to live out there and have to constantly have protection or have proper protection on their own, we're proposing that if the farmers stop working against us and aid us one last time, then we can help them in a regard that if we seize what has been pillaged and disband the mercenary guilds, we can redistribute the gold to them and pay them for their service as militia members. And of course, we can then return to fixing the problem at hand, for them at least.
Well, that being said, you're suggesting that we pit commoners against people who are trained to fight. Mercenaries are no joke.
These aren't skilled and organized groups. They're just people who are being robbed essentially and are grasping onto any sort of hope that they can.
Yes, and I understand that. But as I said, we've been robbed blind. And we don't have
So have they.
Well,
for
yes.
years now.
Yes, I know. And it's the problem. I do not, at least personally, I rarely have the funds to continue to hire mercenaries just outside my door. And as you can clearly see, it's not paying off. So, I'm having an issue with my own financial resources as well. And I'll be honest, if we don't find a resolution to this problem soon, many of us nobles will be forced down into the commoner array of society, and the merchants guild will be deduced to a large monopoly of the best lords, which will be only 3 people. And considering that they're not having any troubles with the mercenaries, that will discontinue any assistance that they'll get from them. At least the commoners won't get any help from any of us. At least we won't be able to anymore, unless the queen, of course, changes the laws and allows us to continue service in that court. We will be powerless to face them.
Well, I mean, you're acting like you're powerless already.
Well,
because you're not giving us many solutions or many that are beneficial.
He says, I've already given you one, and it comes at a huge cost.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not very beneficial.
He says, it's what would you have me do? I'm not a fighter on my own either. If I go out there, I will surely be slain. And unless you think I will walk out there against an angry mob of farmers who will probably kidnap me.
We're not saying that we want a full-on scale war. That's exactly what we're trying to avoid, which is why we want you to comply with their demands. That's why, if anything, it's just.
He says, I can't comply with their demands. You're asking me to pay them hundreds of thousands of gold that I just don't have. Like I said, I don't have enough gold to barely pay for this villa. and the taxes that are involved with its not only its just general protection for the guard, but of course my own personal guard.
Well,
Just gonna
the problem is here that if we form a militia, say we do manage to convince the farmers and they all form a militia, the farmers are divided right now. There's those that follow this mysterious temptress, and there's those that just want to farm. And so you're dividing an already divided force. And not only that, but should, which will very definitely happen, many of those farmers perish, you've also lost a significant portion
of your funds.
workforce. Yeah, like at that point, your city might start to starve.
He says, he just kind of like looks at his belongings. He says, he looks around. You don't see any weapons in here. You do see some light armor and like just maybe like a short sword that he keeps beside it. That's about it. He's got some scrolls and besides, and a lot of writing and utensils. He's got a bed up here and some dressers, but it doesn't look like he's got anything too fantastic. If you had returned to your own world, this would be what a typical room looks like. He says, he looks around and he says, there's no vault in here. There's no hidden bank that I have. And what I did have has been taken from me. It says, I am able to offer a vote to change the policies to perhaps encourage the farmers to help us. It says, but that is the only power I personally yield. And that is the same for many of us lords who live in this area. He says, we are doing what we can to organize and to help consult the current guards' movements and try to keep them as informed as we possibly can with our own personal eyes and ears, and trying to keep information available to them. However, what you ask of me, which is to donate an egregious amount of gold that perhaps maybe at one point I did have, but I no longer have.
I never asked that.
Well, he kind of looks to Marcus.
I know I did. I don't know what I did.
He says, I do not have the funds to appease them.
I'm just gonna sit back in my chair, just cross my arms, and just so much for a city of gold, man.
He's like, we've been pillaged for years. It's not like I understand the farmer's plight. If I were in this situation, I would have done the same thing. But of course, we're in a world where we have been sieged for a long time now. And of course, we have our skirmishes with them where we arrest them and take what food that they do supply us with, but that only instigates them even further. Now, unfortunately, that's not really promoting anything. And the queen has done her best to not only deal with the mercenaries, but also deal with trying to encourage the farmers to help us and try to return to the things that they were. But it's not really working out too well. He says, so we're kind of in a dilemma where somebody has to step up and do what's right. But unfortunately, as much as I'd like to say that I would want to be that person, because of course it would make me very rich very fast, I cannot be that person.
Can we not just talk to the queen about it?
He says, you could, but she's in the same situation as us. The only upside that she has is that the guards that she has employed are more than loyal enough to stay under her service without too much of a wage, as long as they continue to get fed. Now, the farmers, there's a small group of farmers that have been working for her and to keeping her company loyal. However, those farmers are definitely excavated from the other bunch. They are already doing their best to encourage them to come back. But of course, with the way things are now, they don't want the same deal as they had last time. And they won't listen to us. For obvious reasons.
Well, I would suggest that you get to work on making this vote happen, and we'll get to work on talking to the farmers and seeing what we can do. We'll talk to the gods as well and see if they can start training farmers. But it's got to be you've got to understand that this is a huge risk, and if the farmers don't want to do it, there's no way we can make them.
This is potential genocide, what you're saying.
It's not
just
genocide.
Well, I mean,
No, it's not. Yeah, it's
setting a lot of people.
Civil war.
Yeah.
He says, I can't do anything about it. Of course, us lesser merchant lords have been trying to encourage a council for the last 2 years, but the other 3 don't want to. And because
Sorry.
and the other 3 have not only the most funds, but the biggest votes. And without at least one of them siding with the rest of us, we don't have a chance.
What about relocation? Can we not send them to another plane?
What good does that do? Can you?
I mean, there's planes where gold isn't that valuable, and where like actually trade and farming is well, highly rewarded. Well, there's different planes. Like we just came from a different one, didn't we?
He says, if you somehow come across a treasure hoard of gold, then by all means, fix all of our problems. But until then, we're where we are.
Is there any way to funnel gold from these 3 lords, put them in the same dire straits, and perhaps encourage them to encourage a vote?
He thinks about it. And he says, as you've noticed, the mercenaries around here, they go where the gold is. And that's understandable. So if somehow you would convince the mercenaries that the service was more expensive, or perhaps put the other lords in a situation where they can't afford their protections anymore, then perhaps you could put them in a situation where they may be encouraged to resign their positions and aid the common man. But you have to be very careful about taking away their money, because if they take away their money and they don't notice, or something else happens, then the mercenaries will just take everything from them, and then we'll be back where we started. See you later, Sandra.
Bye.
Hope you have fun.
Sandra.
Bye, Sandra.
Sorry, I have to go work.
Okay, go
Bye.
for it.
I'll put the experience in later. So.
Thank you.
And he says, so it's been a relatively, well, it's not relative. It's been a very tedious, very political situation that we have our hands on. And of course, the Crusaders could leave to attack the mercenaries. But if the war goes poorly for them, then, well, we'll be defenseless.
And with bandits at your borders, that's not ideal.
As I said, if we could somehow if we could convince the farmers to be the better man, so to speak, and step up for us, we would, with the magic that is in Kormin currently, I would be willing to, and at least many other lords would be willing to bind ourselves to a contract to pay them what they are due. And they can set up any price. We'll figure it out when we get to that situation. But they need to forgive us and help us, because without them, we are running out of food. We're not necessarily running out of water, but we will starve to death. And once we get too weak, the mercenaries will overrun us. Now, we don't expect that to happen until maybe a year from now. But of course,
It's not that long.
Since we've already been at it for 10 years.
Yeah.
It's been very useful. we've been very lucky up until this point. We're running out of luck, we're running out of resources, and the merchant lords seem to be hoping that the siege lasts long enough until all of our resources are dry. And then they'll just come over here and take everything, and then Kormin will be theirs. Or maybe the bandits will somehow overpower them. Who knows? So,
It's just in this fight, someone's gonna lose.
well, there's going to be a fight, and if the farmers, and oddly enough, the farmers have all the power here. They won't listen to us. Obviously, they're afraid of getting used again. That's understandable. But if they did this for us, we would be willing to make these contracts and get everything going. But they won't believe us. And like I said, we've squirmed out of better deals before. But I think this is something that we would have to contractually bind ourselves to. If you could somehow at least, the other thing that we could do potentially is if we have the queen dismiss their rights as lords, we can have our own council and unanimously agree to such contracts. However, as far as my understanding is, they do still provide very great services to her and other situations. It's not ideal that we lose them, but if they have to go, then they have to go.
All right. Well, we'll leave that as an option at the very least. So, if we leave here today, if we come back, say in the next day or two or something, are your guards going to try and kick us out? I mean, I can look like you. We've already established that, but in theory, it'd be a lot easier if we could just say, "Hey, can we have a chat?"
I would appreciate if you informed me ahead of time so that I may have something ready for you.
Such
But,
matters need to be rushed sometimes.
Of course. I'm just saying it would be nice to have some tea while I was blabbering on for a long time. My throat is getting quite parched.
Oh God, you're so posh. Ugh, I'm just gonna sit in my chair, just like, ew.
It's okay. Next time we come, you can be much more hospitable.
Hopefully less literally than your friend.
She literally just like stayed at her place.
Yeah.
All right. See you, Chief. What's your name, by the way? We didn't even ask that. Hi, Merchant Lord.
I'm Merchant Lord Marcus.
Oh, hey, we're twins. That's my name. Does that technically make me a Merchant Lord?
Get out of my office.
All right, cool.
Marcus, one final thing. You said you're in dire straits for money.
Yes.
How much would it cost for that beautiful rabbit you have there?
He's quite happy where he is. I don't know. I never really thought about that. He's just something that distracts me when things get too busy.
But you keep him in a cage.
It's more like a tank, but I do let him out occasionally. But I have my gardener watch over him.
That sounds like true freedom.
He says, well, I'm sorry you disagree with his treatment, but
Bunny,
there's
though.
a lot of falcons around here. And I would hate for him to get scooped away.
I think she's hinting she wants your bunny.
I know what she's hinting at, other Marcus.
Got it. Yeah, just saying. It was just so awkward tension. I just wanted to like state the obvious. Okay, I'll back away now. I'll just put my hands up and just slowly back away. My bad.
I have to think about it another time. But you do know that if I remove Sir Charles from his throne, I will just get another Sir Charles.
Unfortunately, I do know that. Once a jailer, always a jailer. Come on, Marcus. Neri, stop sleeping.
She kind of just shakes her head and wakes up.
Yeah. As we're walking out, I'm just gonna say this is convincing the farmers is not going to go well. Just convincing them to be the better person in a fight, in just a deal where they're already getting the short end of the stick.
We need to talk to them at the very least.
Oh,
Contracts here seem to be very important, and the fact that the merchant lords are willing to lower themselves to a contract, I think, will be key in convincing them. But I think we will also have to start to deal with the bandits, because the farmers are in a pretty bad place right now. If we can figure out the bandits and maybe talk a few more onto our side, that might help.
So you guys want to continue, or
That'll be hard. I don't know.
so? What you guys know is that there is a small group near the royal castle of farmers that are working with the queen. So you could potentially talk to them for information. Of course, there is a lot of farmers out there that you can talk to.
Well, the ones with the queen, they're already sort of on board and they're willing to help. And
But
I'm
they're just
assuming,
they're more like loyalists.
yeah. But
They'll kind of just agree with anything the queen comes up with.
not even that. It's just I think that if they could have convinced other people to join them with the queen, they would have. So they might not. They might be a little more disconnected from what's actually going on out there. I'm not saying they're not valuable to talk to, but I think at this point it would probably be better for us to start talking to some of the like sort of getting an idea and getting a feel for how the farmers feel, like if they're still really indignant or if they're just fed up or if they're really like despairing of, you know, anything happening, and then sort of gauge that and go from there. That would be my assumption.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you go out the front gate, or is this good for today?
I would say for me, it's probably good for today because I'd only be able to play for another like half hour, and might as well wait till Sandra.
Mm-hmm.
So between all that information gathering and talking with Merchant Lord Marcus, you have done a lot of chatting, a lot of gathering, and now you know a lot more about the situation in Kormin than you did when you first walked in here. So I'm going to give you guys 500 experience.
Oh my! I freaked out. I'm like, oh, we're not going by the same experience rules. Okay.
So I'm going to give you guys 500 experience.
Yep.
For gathering of information. I am going to give you guys 100 experience extra for talking with local authorities as well as getting on the good side of people. And I'm going to give you guys another 200 experience for going through the game. Today's game.
How much do we get for the pillow fight?
The
2.
Maybe if you had actually taught him some mechanics.
We taught him how to hit.
It's pretty straightforward. Add your decks.
So that's a total of 800?
Yep.
Okay. Do you guys want to negotiate for any more experience, or
Did that include the experience of getting into the Lord's house without getting into a fight?
Oh yeah, that was.
oh,
I thought for a good while we were going to get arrested.
Oh yeah.
Like this is it.
I'll give you Sukio 100 experience for that.
Yeah, no, I was just dragged in with her. I didn't even know it was her. I'm just like, oh, he's outside now. Wait, there's two of them.
I will give Marcus 50 experience for
Take
kind
it.
of distracting the guards
I'll take it.
and kind of letting that situation happen.
Yep.
I will also give Marcus 100 experience for rolling the very important knowledge roll.
Yeah.
And I'll give Neri 100 experience for the tier. No. I would for making
Give Nary an STD for that.
she'll get 100 experience for talking with the high captain.
Yeah.
And making him friendly towards you guys.
Woo.
So she will get 900 experience.
All right, so I have no idea how much we need to level.
You need 2,000.
Slow is really slow, I think. Me.
Yeah, I'm slow. I don't know that.
Hold on. I'll check exactly what it is.
All in the broadcast. So thanks to everyone for playing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Slow is 3,000 to second level.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.